All right, so we are diving into the inner workings of New York City's government today.
Oh, wow.
We are talking city council. You brought us these meeting minutes from August 15th, 2024, and honestly, I'm curious, like, what kind of drama unfolds when we get into these pages?
Well, you know what's fascinating about meeting minutes is that they really are like a time capsule. They capture the specific moment in the city's decision making.
Well,
It's a glimpse behind the curtain. It reveals like the nuts and bolts of how local government functions.
okay, so less nuts and bolts, more like juicy stuff, like
Yeah.
who was late to the meeting?
Yeah.
Who voted against something? Did anyone bring donuts?
Well, I can't promise donuts,
Okay.
but I can say that these minutes do offer some intriguing insights. For starters, we get to see who was present and accounted for.
Right.
51 council members representing the 5 boroughs. So, just getting a quorum, which is the minimum number of people they need to actually make decisions, can sometimes even be a feat in itself.
Yeah.
And this time around, Councilmember Caban was out for medical reasons, and Councilmember 1 was on parental leave.
Oh, wow.
So it's a good reminder that even in the halls of power, life happens.
Totally. It makes you realize these are real people with real lives.
Yeah.
They're just juggling, city budgets and diaper changes at the same time.
Exactly.
Okay, so the meeting kicks off. Is it as formal as I'm picturing in my head? Like gavel slams, everyone's wearing like these perfect suits.
Yeah, I think more municipal chic than courtroom drama.
Okay.
But they do start with a roll call,
Yeah.
which I imagine is quite a mouthful with 51 names. From there, we jump into a message from the mayor himself.
Ooh, mayoral drama. Spill the tea. What is the mayor up to?
So he is announcing a significant appointment,
Oh.
Randy Mastro, as corporation counsel.
Corporation counsel. That sounds important. Break that down for me. What is that?
It's a big deal. This is the city's top lawyer,
Wow.
responsible for defending the city in court and overseeing all legal matters.
Ah,
So think lawsuits, contracts, even legislation. The
Yeah.
corporation council has a say in all of it.
wow. That is a lot of power.
Mm.
So the mayor just gets to appoint whoever they want to that position?
Well, not exactly. The city council has to confirm this appointment.
Okay.
And that's where things can get a little interesting because the council has the power to say no to the mayor, which creates an important check and balance within the city government.
Okay, so it's like a game of chess.
Yeah.
The mayor makes a move. The council gets to decide if they want to play along. I'm guessing this Mastro appointment will probably stir up some debate.
Yeah, definitely one to watch, especially given Mastro's background.
Okay.
But before we dive into that potential drama, let's turn to another big-ticket item, the budget.
Okay.
Specifically, the Department of Education's 5-year capital plan.
This is where it gets real for parents and teachers and anyone who's ever even stepped foot in a New York City public school. We're talking about money that builds the future new classroom school, repairs the whole shebang. So what's the plan looking like? Big spending or tightening the purse strings?
We're talking billions of dollars here,
Wow.
which sounds massive. But remember, this is New York City. The Department of Education is the largest school system in the country. So even a seemingly huge budget like this gets spread pretty thin.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This capital plan is where we see the city's priorities laid out.
Okay.
Which schools are going to get renovations, which programs get funding, and what gets put on hold for another year.
And let's be real. Those decisions can impact neighborhoods for years to come.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got the mayor shaking things up with appointments. The Department of Education is vying for their piece of the pie. What else is on the city council's plate this day?
This wouldn't be a true deep dive without talking about land use. Always a hot topic in a city where space is at a premium.
It's a concrete jungle out there, and everyone wants their piece of the skyline.
That's right.
So what's got people fired up in this meeting?
Well, in these minutes, we see the council exercising its power to review projects that have already gone through the City Planning Commission.
Okay.
So think of it as a chance for the council to step in and say, hold on a minute, we need to take a closer look at this.
Okay.
These are called land use call-ups,
Okay.
and they often involve these big development projects with the potential to reshape neighborhoods.
Okay. So less about zoning regulations and more about, like, the battle for the soul of New York City.
Exactly.
So which project is causing the biggest stir this time around?
One that caught my eye is this proposal for like a new MSK pavilion.
MSK as in Memorial Sloan Kettering the Cancer Center.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're a major presence in the city, and this pavilion is part of their ongoing expansion.
Okay.
But new development, especially on this scale, often faces pushback from the community.
Right. It's like progress versus preservation. Yeah. What are we talking about here? What are the arguments?
Well, on one hand, you've got MSK, like a renowned institution. They're
Yeah.
looking to expand their facilities, which could lead to more jobs, better health care, like advancements in cancer treatment.
Right.
On the other hand, you have residents who are concerned about, what's this going to do to our neighborhood?
Right.
Increased traffic strain on infrastructure. Is it going to lose its character?
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. So what I'm gathering from these minutes is that the city council kind of plays this crucial role in mediating these disputes. They're not just rubber stamping projects. They're really digging into the details and hearing from all sides.
Absolutely. And that's where these land use call-ups become so important.
Yeah.
It gives the council a chance to put these big developments under a microscope.
Yep.
And potentially negotiate changes or impose conditions that address some of the concerns of the community.
It's fascinating to see how this all plays out. I'm telling you, these minutes are giving me a whole new appreciation for the complexities of city planning.
Yeah.
But let's move on to another layer of this whole city council ecosystem. The committees. I'm seeing a bunch of reports in these minutes. What are those all about?
So think of committees as kind of like the engine rooms of the city council.
Okay.
Each committee focuses on a specific area, like education, transportation, or public safety.
Okay.
They'll hold hearings, they review legislation, and they make recommendations to the full council.
So it's like a division of labor. It allows council members to develop expertise in specific areas. Like it makes sense, especially when you think about just the massive amount of issues that they're dealing with.
Exactly. And these committee reports, they offer a glimpse into what's on the horizon for the city.
Okay, give me an example. What's one of the issues that jumped out at you?
Well, the Committee on General Welfare was discussing a proposal to prohibit the Department of Homeless Services from requiring a child's physical presence at a shelter intake facility.
Wow, that's a heavy one. What's the story there?
It's a really poignant example of how city government grapples with these really complex social issues.
Yeah,
Imagine you're a family experiencing homelessness.
right,
Navigating the shelter system is already incredibly stressful.
for sure.
And this legislation seeks to make that process a little bit easier on families with children.
It's about recognizing the human impact of policy, especially, like you said, on those who are most vulnerable.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And on a completely different note, the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure was looking into requiring the Department of Transportation to provide more data on bicycle and these micromobility device usage.
Yeah, the great scooter debate rages on. What's the thinking behind this big data push?
I think it reflects the growing pains of a city adapting to new modes of transportation.
Yeah.
As more people are turning to bikes, e-bikes, scooters, the city needs this data to inform its decisions
Right.
about bike lanes, parking regulations, and safety measures for everyone.
So it's like data-driven urban planning in action.
Exactly. And it highlights how the city council is constantly responding to the evolving needs of New Yorkers. But all this committee work, the reports, the hearings, it all culminates in this moment of truth, the General Orders Calendar.
The what?
The General Orders Calendar.
Yep.
It sounds a little bureaucratic,
It does.
but it's basically where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
It's where the full city council votes on all the resolutions, local laws, and other items that have made their way through this legislative process.
So it's like the main event, all those late-night committee meetings, the debates, the compromises, and all comes down to this.
Exactly. And in these minutes, we get to see the outcome of all that work.
So what happened? Did any of these proposals get voted down? Was there any, yelling fistfights?
Yeah,
The exciting stuff?
Well, the minutes don't mention any fistfights, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
But we do see which items sailed through and which ones maybe sparked a little debate. It's interesting to note that a majority of the items on this General Orders Calendar were approved by consent.
Approved by consent, meaning?
It means there was this broad agreement among the council members. No need for lengthy debates or roll call votes, basically a collective thumbs up.
So less like a dramatic courtroom showdown and more like a well-oiled machine most of the time.
Exactly. But even in those seemingly routine approvals, you can sometimes spot these subtle clues about where council members might have differing opinions or priorities.
It's all in the detail.
Exactly.
Okay, so if most things got approved, what should I even be paying attention to in these minutes?
Keep an eye out for any votes that weren't unanimous.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
those dissenting votes, even on seemingly minor issues,
Right.
can sometimes signal deeper divisions within the council or even hint at, like, future battles to come.
It's like political tea leaf reading. You're looking for those little hints and patterns to kind of understand the bigger picture.
Precisely. And what's fascinating is that these seemingly mundane meeting minutes represent real power.
Yeah.
You know, real decisions that affect the lives of millions of New Yorkers.
It's easy to forget that when you're caught up in the, details of budgets and land use proposals.
Hmm.
But this isn't just some abstract exercise.
No.
This is about the future of our city, the
Yeah.
quality of our schools, the character of our neighborhoods. It's all connected.
And here's the thing, these minutes are open to the public.
Really?
Anyone can go and witness democracy in action.
Wow.
See their elected officials in person and get a firsthand look at how decisions are made.
That's a good point. It's easy to feel disconnected from local government,
Yeah.
but it's more accessible than people realize.
Mm.
You can attend these meetings, you can speak your mind during public comment periods, you can even just read the minutes like we're doing and stay informed.
Exactly. This one meeting, these minutes, they're just a snapshot in time.
Right.
But they offer this remarkable glimpse into the inner workings of a system that impacts, like, literally every aspect of our lives.
It's true.
Imagine all the conversations, the negotiations, the community organizing that happens behind the scenes to shape these very decisions.
It makes you realize that change doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, often driven by the passion and the persistence of everyday people who are paying attention and getting involved.
And that's what I hope listeners take away from this deep dive.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a city council expert or a policy wonk to make a difference.
It's true.
Stay curious, stay engaged, and remember that you have a voice in shaping the future of your city.
So the next time you see a construction project changing the skyline or a new bike lane popping up on your street, remember, those decisions weren't made in a vacuum. They're the result of a complex and often fascinating process that involves countless people, competing interests, and a whole lot of paperwork.
And if you don't like what you see, or if you have an idea for making your neighborhood even better, well, now you know where to start.
That's a powerful message to end on. Knowledge is power, and now our listeners have a little more knowledge about how their city really works. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will inspire someone to run for office themselves someday. Until then, stay curious, my friends, and keep exploring the hidden depths of your own city.